He mutilated her and sent the body parts to politicians in Canada. In 2012, a Chinese student named Jun Lin walked into an apartment in Montreal, believing he was meeting a modeling agent. What happened next shocked the entire world. The man behind it was Luca Magnotta, obsessed with fame, control, and attention. He filmed the crime, uploaded it online, and mailed body parts to government offices just to make sure the world was watching. Instead of hiding, he ran, traveling across Europe while following the news about himself. He was finally caught in a Berlin internet cafe, reading articles about his own case. This wasn't just murder. It was a calculated performance for global attention.
He burned the body after killing her. In March 2021, the crime shocked Britain. A 33-year-old woman named Sarah Everard was walking home. She was in London during the evening hours. She chose a familiar and trusted route. She stayed in well-lit public areas. She spoke on the phone for safety. She followed the advice given to women. Despite all precautions, danger still followed. She never made it home that night. She was stopped by a man on the street. He appeared to be a police officer. Using authority, he forced compliance. Her trust was exploited deliberately. This was not a misunderstanding. It was a calculated criminal act. She was taken away from the area. She was killed later that night. Her body was burned afterward. The fire was meant to erase evidence. The killer was Wayne Couzens. He was an active-duty police officer. Public trust collapsed across the country. Subscribe for more stories. They kept beating him until Gabriel Fernandez's small body gave up. In 2013, 8-year-old Gabriel Fernandez lived with his mother and her boyfriend in California. He was small for his age and constantly afraid. Teachers noticed bruises, burns, and missing patches of hair. They reported their concerns to Child Protective Services repeatedly. Investigators visited the home but took no decisive action. Behind closed doors, Gabriel was beaten almost daily. He was punched, whipped, and shot with a BB gun. He was burned with cigarettes and humiliated. Sometimes, he was forced to sleep locked inside a cabinet. His ribs were broken multiple times. His teeth were damaged from repeated blows. Neighbors later said they heard screams at night. No one stepped in to stop it. On the final day, Gabriel was beaten until he collapsed. He vomited and begged for help. Emergency services were called far too late. Doctors found severe internal injuries. Gabriel died from sustained abuse and trauma. The trial revealed massive failures by the system meant to protect him. His death became a symbol of silent suffering and institutional neglect. Subscribe for more stories. They tortured him until his small body finally gave up. In February 1993, 2-year-old James Bulger was taken from a shopping centre in Liverpool. CCTV later showed him walking hand in hand with 2 older boys. People saw them, but assumed the child was safe. They were wrong. The boys led James away from public view. Over hours he was abused, beaten, and terrorized. He cried and tried to walk back toward help. Each time he was pulled away. Several adults noticed him distressed, but no one intervened. The violence escalated as time passed. By the time authorities found him, James was dead. The killers were just 10 years old. The country was left in shock. The trial exposed a justice system unprepared for such cruelty. James Bulger's murder changed how Britain viewed youth violence. It remains one of the most disturbing cases in modern history. Rest in peace, little one. Subscribe for more stories. She was beaten, burned, starved, and tied up until her body shut down. In 2000, 8-year-old Victoria Climbié arrived in London from Ivory Coast. She believed she was going to school. She believed she was going to be loved. Instead, she entered a home ruled by fear. The woman responsible controlled every part of her life. Victoria was beaten repeatedly. She was struck with belts, wires, and hard objects. Cigarettes were pressed into her skin. Hot water was poured on her body. Food was denied for days at a time. She became dangerously thin. She was tied up as punishment. She was forced to sleep in a bathtub. Neighbors heard screaming at night. Doctors saw bruises and burns. Social workers noticed her condition. Police were made aware. Reports were written. Visits were made. Nothing changed. Each time, Victoria was sent back. The abuse continued without pause. Her body began to shut down. She was taken to hospital too late. Her organs failed. She died in February 2000. Her body showed more than 100 injuries. Subscribe for more stories. He was beaten. He was starved. He was isolated and denied food. He was forced to stand alone for hours. Arthur Labinjo Hughes was only 6 years old. He lived with his father and his father's girlfriend. Inside the home, his life was constant punishment. CCTV showed him crying, collapsing, and begging. No one helped him. One day, Arthur was assaulted so violently that his brain suffered fatal damage. He collapsed and never woke up. Paramedics tried to save him, but it was too late. Arthur died from severe head injuries and long-term abuse. Messages between the adults revealed cruelty and intent. This was not discipline, it was torture. Both responsible adults were sentenced to life in prison. Arthur's death shocked an entire nation and exposed how abuse can exist in plain sight. Subscribe for more stories. Killer at 11 years old? Mary Bell was only 11 years old when she became one of the youngest convicted killers in British history. In 1968, 2 young boys were found dead in Newcastle, England. At first, police believed the deaths were tragic accidents. They were wrong. Investigators soon realized the crimes were deliberate. The children had been intentionally harmed, and someone had returned to the scenes. What shocked the country was not just the crimes, but who committed them. Mary Bell, a child herself, was arrested. She showed no panic and no visible remorse. During the trial, experts testified that her actions showed calculation and control, not confusion. The crimes were not impulsive. They were repeated and deliberate. Britain was left in disbelief. An 11-year-old had taken the lives of other children. Mary Bell was convicted and sent to prison. Her case forced a disturbing question. What happens when a child becomes the perpetrator? To this day, it remains one of the most unsettling cases in British history. Subscribe for more stories. Her life ended violently before anyone realized she was gone. In July 2000, 8-year-old Sarah Payne was playing near her grandparents' home. It was a warm, quiet afternoon in Sussex. Sarah rode her bike along a path she knew well. She was suddenly taken. No screams were heard. No one saw her disappear. When she did not return, panic spread fast. A massive search began across the countryside. Helicopters scanned fields and forests. Volunteers searched day and night. Behind the scenes, police uncovered dark suspicions. A known predator lived close by. Witnesses recalled a man lurking near the path. Evidence slowly revealed the truth. Sarah had been abducted and isolated. She was subjected to extreme violence. Her small body was left in a remote field. The discovery devastated the nation. The killer was arrested and charged with murder. He received a life sentence. Sarah's death changed child protection laws forever. Subscribe for more stories.